The levee is gone and there's no one here to help you now.
Hi, I'm John McCann from Survival Resources. I wanted to do a short video today. It's not going to be real long, and what it's going to be is understanding contour lines. Outside of magnetic declination, I find that many times the students has a hard time comprehending or actually visualizing contour lines. So I wanted to do a real quick video, and I hope this helps those who don't understand them to better understand them. Those of you guys out there that already know all this stuff, then it's probably not going to be a lot of help to you, but this should be a lot of help to those people who sometimes just don't quite understand them, and I want them to be able to visualize the topography. So let's get started on this video. Okay, I'm going to use a USG map here to help explain some of the stuff about contour lines for you. What you have to understand is there's 7 colors used on a map. That's it, 7. One of those is brown, and the brown is always used as contour lines. And you will see that all of these little squiggly lines here, these are all contour lines, and this is what allows you to actually see and perceive the topography, what the land looks like, once you understand them. Okay, each one of these little squiggly lines represents the elevation above sea level. The difference in elevation between each one of these lines remain the same on any specific map. Now this actually allows you to see this land in 3 dimensions. Okay, but there's certain rules that pertain, and understanding these rules are going to allow us to better understand these contour lines. First, the height and the distance between these lines is what we call the contour interval. Okay, this contour interval is indicated always at the bottom center of the map, right below the scale. If you look down here, you're going to see the contour interval is 20 feet. That means if 20 feet distance between each line increases or decreases, it does so by this 20 feet. Okay, you'll see I've moved the camera to another section of the map here in order to further discuss contour lines. Okay, you will notice that each 5th line is thicker. Okay, this is particularly notable right here and right here. Every 5th line. You will also note that every 5th line has the actual number written on it, which is the elevation above sea level. If these numbers go up in number, then you're going uphill. If these numbers go down, then you're going downhill. Very simple to remember. Numbers going up, you're going up. Numbers coming down, you're going down. Okay, all of these contour lines, you will know, have no beginning and they have no end. They're all a continuous loop. And if you walked around this entire loop here, you would never go up and you would never go down. You would remain on the same elevation all the way around every one of these lines. You also note that the closer these lines get together, particularly over here, that this is steeper topography. If these lines were real close together, almost right on top of each other, you would actually be on a cliff. That would show that it would be straight up and down. Now when lines are further apart, like here, this is less of a steep grade. It would be much easier to walk up here than it would be to walk up here, because this is less steep. Okay, you also note there's V shapes here, V or U shapes, and these V or U shapes, they point always uphill, increased elevation. They would represent a valley, a ravine, or something like that. If they were pointing down, then they would indicate a ridge or a spur. You can see over here that there's some going this way. That shows you that this is a ridge, and these would be going in this direction, and you would see that right here it's less steep, and over here much less steep than it would be if you tried to come up this side here. An hourglass type of shape, and you will see here and here. This would show you that there's some type of a pass going through here. Okay, a lot of times the peak of a mountain or a peak of something would be marked with an X, or actually show you the elevation. You can see right over here there's an X, and it says 2163. You'll notice it's not an even number like the others because this is the actual elevation of the top of that. Now we'll go back to this hourglass shape or this peak. You'll notice if you had to pass through this topography here that it would be much easier to go through here than it would be to go through here. Okay, one of the things I want to warn you about in regard to topographical maps and contour lines is that contour lines do not show everything. They can't show everything because every contour line is a distance in height or going down from one line to the other. Therefore, anything that is less than the contour interval, you won't see. And I wanted to explain this because sometimes I'll have a student be walking along and they'll come to this cliff and they look at their map and they don't see the cliff and it's going down and they say, I must be in the wrong place. There's no cliff indicated on my map here. But what this means is if you'll see here, here is your topography, here is your contour lines. This is what it looks like from the side. If you come up right here, you will notice there's a dip here. Okay, this dip, as you're walking along here, is a cliff. But the reason why it doesn't show is because it's less than the contour interval, which means if these contour lines were 20 feet high from each other going up, and you hit this cliff is less than 20 feet. It could be 18, 19, 12, whatever. But if it's less than the contour interval, less than the 20 feet, then it won't show up anywhere on the map. If this was exactly 20 feet, then there would be another contour line right there to indicate that, but there isn't. So be careful when you're walking along out in the woods or wherever you are, and you come to something that's not shown on the map as a contour interval. It could mean it's less than the contour interval. In other words, a cliff could be 18, 19 feet deep, but it's not going to show because unless it's 20 feet deep, it won't become another contour line. I hope that helps explain one little warning here that I always like to give out to students. Okay, we really have the basics of contour lines out of the way. What I've explained so far really should give you an understanding of what they are, how they work, and how you can visualize the typography. My problem is a lot of times my students still couldn't really visualize how when you went up in contour interval or down, it would actually show the shape of the land. And that's what I really like to do, is have a student understand. I want a little light to go off and have them go, now I get it. So I thought about this a long time and I said, you know, if I could build an actual mountain and cut it all up into pieces, you know, slice it off like you would a ham with a slicer, then maybe if we built this in front of them, then they could actually understand how the contour lines showed or represented the topography. So I got myself into the wood shop and I actually made a mountain, and then me and my wife sat there and we carved between each contour line in order to give the shape of it, and then we painted it green so it would look like a mountain. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you this little training aid that we put together, and hopefully this will help those who are still a little confused, that when they're done they'll say, now I get it. And that's all I'm hoping for with this video. Okay, as you can see, what I've done is I've drawn a portion of a map onto a large piece of cardboard. And what I've done is I've done the contour lines and I'm showing more or less a shadow. As you can see, the numbers go from 3,000, 3,500, 3,500 over here, and then it goes up a little further. This shows an actual saddle in a mountain. Now when someone looks at a topographical map and they see these lines, they should immediately be able to envision in their mind what this looks like as a mountain. Unfortunately, a lot of times they don't. So building the mountain, what we did is we made it so it would fit exactly onto these contour lines. So let's go with the first layer. Here's the first layer, and as you can see, the remaining contour lines here is painted onto each of the other pieces. So that's your first thing. Now as you can see, everything is going up. The second piece, again with the remaining contour lines, is added, and now we can start to see the shape, that there's a lot less steepness coming up this way than there would be if you were coming over here. Then we add the next piece. And what we just keep doing is adding these. What you see on the top of each one is what's left underneath on the map. Each one of these, as you can see, is the same height all the way around. So that shows you that for each contour interval, if you were to walk around this line, you would never go up, you would never go down. But as you increase the different contour pieces, you'll see that it starts to take shape. Here's another piece. There's another piece. There's a piece that tops off this. This continues on this one over here. This continues even further. And then this tops it off. Now, as you can see, this actually shows you the topography of what this represents. If you were just looking at this is what you should see in your mind. You would see what the ground looks like. And a lot of times when we've utilized this after our class, students will go, now I get it. Now I can actually visualize the topography. They can see that if you were hiking, it would be easier to come up here than it would be to come up here. They can also see there's a saddle here. If they were going to go through here, then you would come up through here and go over and go down. So hopefully this little training aid will help those that were still a little confused, and we hope that people will now understand that contour lines aren't real difficult. They're actually very helpful in helping you understand what the topography looks like, and that you should be able to envision that in your mind. Well, there you have it, understanding contour lines. I hope this video has really helped those people who are having problems understanding or comprehending what they were and what they really showed. Anyway, as always, I thank you for joining us. Please be sure to check out our products and our articles at survivalresources.com. Again, we thank you for your support, and we'll see you next time around.